We're proud to introduce you to LlamaPrint, Lacuna's in-house print engine that we've been working on for many months now. We started using v1.2.0, an amazing open source library, to build Lacuna's print capabilities. We've since run into many problems with it. It was giving false positives on Windows as viruses, causing random KDP failures that were hard to detect for us, and we didn't have complete control over how the algorithms worked. We were able to sponsor a feature edition on v1.2.0 before we moved on, and we're forever grateful for the open source community. But with that being said, we now have the system in place to truly deliver the professional quality your books deserve. Improving LlamaPrint will be an ongoing process for the next few months, but we've already made a ton of significant improvements. In fast mode, you can see results in near real time on a decent PC now. I'm on a newer Mac and I get rendering in under a second for a 20-page section. LlamaPrint lets you iterate faster than ever and invites you to experiment more because of the speed advantages. We also worked hard to remove screen flickering and loading times to give you a more seamless experience. In terms of speed, the more images you add, the slower the rendering engine will be. Images tend to be very data heavy, and the more data LlamaPrint has to render, the more time it's going to take. We will continue to optimize performance and look for improvements, but that's generally the rule of thumb. Footnotes can also add some performance slowdowns, but in our experiments, they're far less significant than images. We've added 2 new features behind the scenes of LlamaPrint to improve the quality of your books. The first feature relates to grid snapping. When you use images, ornamental breaks, tables, and the like in your books, you can't always guarantee that the elements will align with the line spacing. The old engine wouldn't account for this, and you'd end up with uneven lines in your books. We've addressed this with our new grid snapping functionality. You may see extra spacing after an image, and that's what's happening. We're adjusting the following line after an element to ensure the lines stay parallel between the left and the right pages. The other feature we added was enhancing hyphenations. We no longer hyphenate the last word of a paragraph. We limit the maximum number of consecutive lines that can receive hyphenations to 2. We also no longer hyphenate capitalized words unless they exceed 9 characters, so we can try our best to preserve proper nouns. One more thing I'd like to mention about print. We discussed this in more detail later in the video, but not all fonts are created equal. As you see in this example, the first line is set to small caps and it renders perfectly fine. When we switch and you look at Carlito font, the small caps don't render. When you're dealing with ebook readers, the readers can manipulate fonts on their own sometimes and mitigate this problem, but with PDFs, you can only embed what the font allows. As always, if you find any bugs in LlamaPrint, please reach out to us via the website's contact form or our support email address. We're a small team and it really helps us expedite the development process when you reach out to us and let us know the problems that you're running into. Adding new fonts to your Lacuna library is now very simple. You just click the Add button next to any font dropdown, paste the URLs you get from Google Fonts into the box, and hit Next. Once you've downloaded the fonts, you'll see the available styles found. These are the font variations available when you create print PDFs. When choosing body text fonts, we suggest selecting fonts that offer regular, bold, italic, and bold italic styles. When choosing a category, we strongly recommend selecting content. The content category ensures you see the fonts everywhere in the application. Handwriting fonts are only for handwriting blocks and might be removed in the future because you can achieve the same behavior using block quote presets. After you finish approving your fonts, you'll be able to use that font throughout your book instantaneously. We've added color pickers for callout boxes and table headers. When you're choosing colors, we added a contrast ratio checker to help you meet WCAG requirements. These are standards designed to ensure you have adequate contrast when interacting with colors. There are more nuances for print, especially when doing full CMYK color books, and will improve the checks and guidance in the future. Before we wrap up, here's a quick trick that you can do with callout boxes. You can drag any element into a callout box to add background colors and borders to those elements. Here are a few examples of adding background colors to block quotes, images, and handwriting blocks.